All right, folks, welcome to another edition of From the Bottom Up. And this time we take a look at Whitesnake's Slip of the Tongue, which saw the light of day on November the 7th, all the way back in 1989. The album has gone platinum. It hit number 10 on both the US and the UK charts. It was the eighth studio album from Whitesnake at the time, and the third straight and final Geffen release for the US label. And we've got a total of 10 songs here. So what we're going to do is we're going to dig right in and go over them here. And we're going to start off with what we called our least favorite song on here at number 10. And that is going to be none other than Slowpoke Music. I would say this song probably lands in that spot for the majority of the people on this one. This is a pretty solid album, but every once in a while you definitely will run into songs that are a little on the weak side, and unfortunately that's what we got with Slowpoke Music that actually came about is that's what the name of Coverdale's music publishing company at one time he used SP Music, so he kind of wrote a song using that term Slowpoke Music. Interesting on this that he wrote the chorus way back then in about 1978. So he was one to like hold on to whatever, he came across and wrote down and brought many songs to life like that from the past, as you will see on this album as we go through the tracks here. Number 9, Got Kittens, Got Claws. Definitely cool song here. It's okay. It's pretty good. It's got that American flavor to it, which Coverdale explained. Obviously he's from the UK, and he always seemed to kind of tend to write a lot, from the UK side of things. And this one, he felt he did it a little bit more American style. And as you can see, one for sure, the main thing on this song is how Steve Vai stands out. This song definitely screams Steve Vai, as you'll hear it throughout the song there with the solos and the phrasing and everything on the guitar, no doubt. Obviously, this album was all recorded with Steve Vai. The album was actually written by David Coverdale and Adrian Vandenberg. They wrote all the tracks together, but Adrian had a injury where he was unable to play on the album, so they had to have somebody come in, and Steve Vai was the lucky candidate, and the rest is history. He stayed with him for the tour. Adrian Vandenberg was able to join on the tour and got to play in concert. It was him and Steve Vai, along with obviously Rudy Zarzo and Tommy Aldridge. And yeah, these guys definitely put on a memorable performances on this tour. They actually came twice for it in the US. And let's see. So that's going to take us down to number 8. And we've got Cheap and Nasty, which Coverdale kind of calls it a marriage of slide it in and slowpoke music. Um, I guess maybe, Cheap and Nasty much better than slowpoke music, obviously, but nowhere near the caliber of slide it in, but it's definitely got that feel and the imagery of the lyrics and everything. It's an okay song. Another, I think slowpoke music, I would say, Kitten's Got Claws, Cheap and Nasty are okay, but from 7 on down, that's where we hit the sweet spot of this album. And we're going to start right off with none other than number 7, Wings of the Storm, which features a double bass. Yeah, I like this song a lot. This is definitely one of the standout tracks on the album, kind of more like the underrated one, because it didn't get the airplay many of the other ones did on American rock radio. And even to this day, I don't think even on Hair Nation, you don't even hear Wings of the Storm much unless you're on the Deep Cuts channel. But hey, still a great song. I got no problem with it. Definitely a decent song in my book. I got it at number 7. Number six, I was actually kind of surprised that this song is only at number six. But I will say this, it's a great song, and we're talking Slip of the Tongue, which is the opening track on the album and the opening track which they kicked off in concert on this tour with. And then Coverdale kind of never played it again. He kind of retired it, at least on any U.S. tours. So sadly, I would have liked to have seen this one open up a show down the road back in like when he was doing the heavy touring from about 2011 to about 2019. That would have been cool to see this song slip in there somewhere and open up a show for old time's sakes. But it was not to be. But definitely great song in my book. I've got it at number six. Number five, Fool for Your Loving, which was the first single from the album and it peaked at number 37 on the Billboard 100. And it's another, he kind of tried to recreate what he did with Here I Go Again and Crying in the Rain, where he took a older song from his back catalog and redid the song. And he says there was a few songs they tried out that he was trying to redo to see how they would, he would like to see him. He felt that he didn't put the best possible version on some of these earlier albums. And he felt that by re-recording them with this stellar lineup that he has here, he felt that maybe we would have gave him a new life, which obviously it worked for Here I Go Again, peaking all the way at number one, topped the charts. But it didn't quite work that way for this song. I actually like the original song much better back from the Reading and Willing album, which came out in 1980. But I have no problem with this version either. Just it's a little bit modernized, and I think Steve Vai went a little too crazy on it compared to would have liked to see what Adrian brought to the song. Definitely. I think they picked the wrong song as the first single. I definitely don't think this should have been the first single, considering it was already a well-known song from the catalog, especially in Europe. So yeah, I just think they should have picked something different. Number four, got The Deeper the Love, which turned out to be the second single. And this was a much better choice. Maybe they should have had this one as the first one. I don't know. The power ballad came from a chorus sequence he had written many years before, Mr. Coverdale. And yeah, this is definitely a much better song. Recorded wise, I like the texture. I like Vi's guitar playing. He doesn't overdo it. And yeah, this song definitely, you still hear this one today. A lot of times on the Hair Nation or some of the classic rock radio stations for sure. All right. That's going to take us to number three. I've got Judgment Day, which stellar song. This is one he still played in concert right up until the final end here. He had the verses written all the way back since 1978, but always had trouble taking the song any further until him and Adrian finally got it all dialed in. But yeah, what a great song. Judgment Day, just a fantastic song and going live, just love this song live. It definitely is always a highlight for sure. And speaking of highlights, that's where number two comes in. And I was so fortunate to have seen this tour as well as 2016. Uh, they pulled this song out of the attic and dusted it off and actually played it live, and it was great to hear. And I'm talking Sailing Ships, the album's closer. And it's also the longest song on the album. And basically, this song came about with a marriage of two separate songs that were never finished, according to Coverdale, one of his and one of Adrian's. And it just gelled so well together. They just combined them into one song. And man, this song is just stellar. Why it's not my number one? Man, I tell you, number one, it was a tough call trying to rate number one and number two and number three, to tell you the truth. But yeah, Sailing Ships is definitely a great song. It's one of the best songs in the whole Whitesnake catalog, in my estimation. I just like one more song better. And what we got at number one, of course, is none other than the third single, Now You're Gone, which peaked at number 96 on the charts. So it didn't do well here. It did crack the top 40 in the UK. Um, not sure why it didn't do so well here. I guess they just didn't promote it as well, or not sure how far after the last single was released or anything like that. I didn't dig too deep into it. But Now You're Gone, just a stellar song, man. I just love the vocals, the whole song from beginning to end. You know, it just another, kind of starts off softly and then, just kicks in. Kind of reminds you a little bit of the better of the Whitesnake catalog, the way that a lot of the songs do that. I love the mood changes in his songs. It just, Sailing Ships is another one. It kind of starts off nice and slow. You expect it to be a ballad all the way through, but then all of a sudden it gets to that point and everything just kicks into gear. Phenomenal solo and Now You're Gone is definitely the highlight on this album, though, in my estimation, and I would say that many would agree. We'll see what you have to say. But first, we're going to give it a quick rundown here. Number 10, Slowpoke Music. 9, I've got Kitten's Got Claws. Number 8, Cheap and Nasty. Number 7, Wings of the Storm. 6, we've got Slip of the Tongue. 5, Fool for Your Loving. Number 4, The Deeper the Love. 3, Judgment Day. Number 2, Sailing Ships. And number 1, Now You're Gone. And that concludes another episode of From the Bottom Up. Please let us know what you think. We love to hear from you. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We'll see you on the flip side.